What's up, future fighters? We are back. We are back answering our question. We answered a big component of it in the last video. This is a two-part question from a viewer. Just curious, do you talk about your decision to use GameMaker in one of your videos? And if you had a do-over, knowing what you do now, would you choose it again? I had not made this particular video to answer this question previously, so I told the viewer that I would make a video for them. It ended up turning into a series of videos that I've done today, which you can go back and watch. We talked about my experience as a martial artist and how it sort of has shaped the whole game. My experience with fighting games, and how me not being able to control those fighting games like I control myself in real sparring played a huge influence on which game engine I chose, specifically 2D or 3D. We went through my history, kind of briefly, not the full detailed version, but brief history of it. And then we talked about animation and frames and dropping frames. And we kind of led up to that from a martial arts perspective for this game is really kind of how it ended up. There's more that GameMaker can do, though, that gave me an additional reason to use this, and I'm going to show you that right now. I'm going to have Shadow, who is controlling the purple Omega character on the right. That is Shadow AI, and Shadow AI is my digital doppelganger. And this sequence here, this is the Skydrop sequence, which he is tracking me on. That was another big reason that I wanted to use GameMaker rather than another type of engine, and to do it in 2D. Have a 2D focused game engine in order to make the game. So the Skydrop sequence is something I saw in my head. Future Fighter, of course, is in well into the future, and as a result, I put myself there in my imagination and said, okay, if I was a martial artist and I was in the future, oh my gosh, I gotta get out of here. If I'm a martial artist and I'm in the future, how would I fight? What would I do? And of course, the first thing that came to mind was, well, I'd have a suit. I'd want to use technology. I'd want to wrap technology around me and use the benefits and physics of that technology to enhance my abilities, extend my abilities. And so that all the characters in Future Fighter have suits, of course. And then the second thing I thought of was, I probably wouldn't just fight horizontally. In the future, we'll have this gravity wave and graviton phenomenon. We'll have that worked out, and we'll be able to use that to even fight vertically. And that's the Skydrop sequence that I just showed you. I'm gonna try and go back there. I'm just gonna let him. He's better than me, so it'll be easier to let him beat me up and knock me into Skydrop than for me to try to get him into Skydrop. And in this sequence here, I kind of saw in my mind, I saw myself in these suits fighting, and having this continuous experience where you're on a top platform, you're fighting, you knock someone down, and you have the advantage now, being low or being above them. You have the advantage, and you can use your projectile weapons to shoot them on the way down, and then you land on the bottom platform, and the fight continues, and it's just one big continuous experience. And it let me do things like have a real reason to not want to be in the corner, other than just I can't move. And you can't jump over people, like in most of the fighting games you play, they have these giant jumps. It's like, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be jumping over people. If there was some technological reason that you could jump over them, maybe, but I wanted to keep things more grounded and closer to my sparring experience, so people don't fall down all the time in Future Fighter. You get hit, but you don't necessarily get knocked down. You can get knocked down just like that. You can get knocked down, but it's you can also see that the characters recover in a very practical way as well. And having all of these aspects, particularly Skydrop, in my mind when I saw that, I'm from the Atari generation, and I kind of saw it as a two-dimensional type, kind of like a mini game, and it would allow it to break the fighting up and add a little bit of suspense when you're here at the point of no return and the camera closes in on you, let's see, sorry, I'm hitting too many buttons. And you have this experience where it's a very 2D type experience. It's a very 2D type image I had in my mind for this. So, a 2D game or a 2D game engine where I could scroll a background very, very easily and have simple sprites on the screen. Just real simple left and rights, and then of course neutral sprite, and have these projectiles come. I really thought it's a very clean interface. It's fun. It's familiar to people, and I like it better than any of the 3D type experiences, vertical fighting experiences I've had in other games. Like the Force Unleashed 2 had an amazing sequence, the 3D sequence where you're doing. It's sort of the similar thing. You don't have any projectiles. You can throw your lightsabers out, and you can do. Well, you have force. That's true. You have force push that you can do. But as it wasn't fun. It was hard to see. It was hard to see if you were successfully hitting the opponent. It was hard to see the debris coming at you. It didn't feel like I was there. It felt like it was forced. And I thought, well, from a game perspective, I wanted to feel good. I wanted to play well. I didn't want to get into that 3D type look. And so I built it in 2D and played it and tested it with others, and everyone loved it. It got everything from a hearty laugh saying it looks like Atari, to people who were just like, wow, I did not see that coming. That is awesome. So GameMaker does all of those things well. Scrolling backgrounds, the control that you have. Chad is putting together some combos there, and it was just it just really worked well. And so that was another big reason that I chose GameMaker to do this. If I think of more reasons to have GameMaker be the engine for this, I'll post them up, but that kind of concludes what I wanted to accomplish today. To see my future videos, go to docbrockgames.com and check out the alpha version of the game. Check out the features that are in there, and check out the 2 characters that I've motion captured into the game, and see some screenshots of them, and it'll tell you a little bit about the features. You get to see some of the features on the screen. And then put your email address on here, and I'll send you updates and let you know when the game comes out. But always come back to YouTube and check out my Making a Future Fighter playlist. I've got hundreds of videos there. You can see what I've done so far with the game, and subscribe and like the videos or dislike the videos. Let me know what you like and don't like. And I just really appreciate you guys watching today's series on why GameMaker, and I would definitely choose it again in the future, because I made the decision based on all of my knowledge that I've accumulated over decades and decades of video games, martial arts, and computer work. And this Future Fighter is built on all of that. And so it was a very sequential decision. So one of those variables would have to change for me to change my decision, and it hasn't yet. So we'll see. And I'll see you on social media and on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching.